Today we're going to talk about the Colorado foreclosure timeline and some of the options that you have available to you. So, my name is Angela Toller. I'm your Metro Denver realtor, and if you like today's video, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. As I said, we're going to start off this conversation talking about the timeline, and then we're going to get into the options. So let's get started with the timeline, which I have here on the video. As you can see, there's something called the pre-foreclosure process. And what happens is, as long as a homeowner keeps their payments current, nothing happens. As soon as a homeowner becomes more than 30 days late on a payment, they're going to start getting notices that they're late on their payment, and they're probably going to be assessed a late payment fee. Now, when this happens, the bank continues, or the lender continues, to keep track of how many days late that payment is. If the payment hits more than 120 days late, the lender then has the right to file a notice of election and demand in the county in which the home resides. And this notice of election and demand filing is what kicks off the foreclosure process. Now, as you can see in the timeline here, the foreclosure process timeline varies depending on the kind of house you have. If you happen to have a standard residential property, your foreclosure timeline is going to be between 110 and 125 days. However, if it's an agricultural property, it's going to be a much longer timeline, and that timeline runs for 215 to 230 days. There is an exception called a zombie property. Yes, that's the colloquial term, that is not the official term. But a zombie property is a property that has been abandoned, that is late and has started the foreclosure process. And if a property meets this criteria, then the lender and the public trustee can take a look at the foreclosure process and expedite it in as little as 45 to 65 days. But we're not going to talk about the special cases. We're only going to talk about your normal average case. The difference being, if you are an agricultural property, you're just going to get a longer timeline than a standard residential property. Now, once the foreclosure process has been initiated by this notice of election and demand, the next thing that happens is the public trustee for the county in which the house resides is going to send a letter to the house. And if the homeowner happens to live in a different location than the house, and trust me, the county knows whether or not you live in your home, they're going to also send a notice to that location. And this notice is going to let you know what your rights are, the fact that a notice of election and demand has been filed, initiating the foreclosure process. It's going to let you know that there's going to be a Rule 120 hearing. It's also going to let you know what the anticipated final sale date for foreclosure is, or sometimes they refer to it as an auction date. They're also going to let you know what the process is for curing your loan. And it goes through a notice, but we'll get to that in just 1 second. Next up on this timeline, I'm sure you see the thing that says Rule 120 hearing. And you're probably wondering, what is that? Now I have to go to court. Well, Rule 120 hearing is actually a procedural process by which the district court for the county that the house resides in says, yes, the lender followed the process. Yes, indeed, or in fact, payments have been late and have not been made. Yes, the foreclosure may proceed based on the filing for the notice of election and demand. This isn't a typical court case where you get to argue what was going on or why. It truly is just a procedural event to say, yes, everything is in order, and this foreclosure process is legitimate according to the payment facts and the notification filing. After that, after that hearing happens, you're going to have a period of time in which, as a homeowner, you can attempt to cure your foreclosure or cure your loan. And what this means is you've got some options to either work with the bank, find a different bank, get a new loan, and refinance the house, or sell the house on your own. Or lastly, if you really choose to, let it go to foreclosure sale. Now, when a house goes to foreclosure sale, it's also sometimes referred to as foreclosure auction. And that sale, once it happens, is final. And when it happens, that then initiates the eviction process. And the homeowner would be evicted from their home because they no longer own it, nor does the bank. The bank has removed that asset from their balance sheet, and someone is now the new owner. So that, in a nutshell, is the foreclosure process from beginning to end. Next, we're going to talk about the different things that you can do in an attempt to cure or resolve your foreclosure status.